recently bought a K&N air filter, and I've used them in the past quite a bit, and now I'm not so sure. So the K&N air filter, to use the K&N air filter or not to use the K&N air filter? That is the question. So for air filters, you have lots of choices. You've got the standard OEM Triumph air filter. You've got K&N, DNA. There's probably other ones out there that I don't know about. DNA is the newest, latest and greatest, I think. Airflow, of the three I looked at, DNA flows the most, K&N is in the middle, and the OEM flows the least. OEM is the most restrictive, the K&N is middle ground, and the DNA is very, very open. Cleaning, replacing the air filters. The OEM is a throwaway. When you take it out, you really don't clean it and put it back in, you just get a new one. The K&N is a process to clean it. You use a special cleaner, it's an air filter cleaner. Spray it all down, hose it all off, spray it again, hose it off, let it air dry. You're not supposed to use compressed air. Let it air dry, and then you have to re-oil it because the K&N is an oiled element filter. The DNA is a plastic type element that you simply rinse, hose off with soap and water, air dry it with compressed air, and stick it back in. Real simple. So the only two reasons I could think of to buy an aftermarket air filter for a bike would be, one, is better airflow, more performance. If you flow more air, you can get more fuel, you can get more performance out of your bikes. Real simple there too. More airflow means more performance. The other reason would be the cost factor of buying it one time and not having to replace it. Just simply clean it, stick it back in. So that would be the reasons I would think you'd want to buy an aftermarket air filter. Unless you're really looking to get that K&N sticker that comes in the box, that's pretty cool too. So like I said, I've used K&N filters in the past many times, and I always had faith in them and I always liked them, and they flow better than an OEM filter, that is for sure. They're a lot messier to clean, they take a lot more work to clean, they're a little more expensive. I guess in the long run, because you don't have to replace it every time, probably is cheaper, or at least equal to the price, depending on how long you keep your bikes. And so I looked into the DNA filters as well, which I was tempted. They're supposed to flow really good. And the K&N filter just became, I don't know how long ago, but I know like for the first year they didn't have it for the Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RS. Now they have it, so I ordered one. And now that I've got it, I started thinking about it. And I tend to keep my bikes long times. I usually keep them at least 30, 40, 50,000 miles. The last one had 70-something thousand on it when I sold it. So over that period of time, any extra dirt that gets into the cylinders is going to accelerate the wear. And I have noticed on several of my bikes that after 25, 30,000 miles, I'm burning some oil and it's blowing some smoke when you get under hard acceleration. Could that be from regular wear? Could be. Could it be from extra wear because of extra dirt coming in? Could be. You know, it's not a definitive, yes, it's because of the air filter or it's because of how you ride, I guess. It could even be the metals in the rings and the cylinders, etc. Anyway, what it looks like is real simple. If it flows more air, it flows more dirt. So on the research that I found online, I looked at the DNA versus K&N versus OEM, and I looked at quite a few videos, and there's a lot of differing opinions. Some people say, oh, absolutely, the DNA flows best, use it, doesn't hurt your engine. Some people are like, no, absolutely, stay away, stick with the OEM. I don't think there's a completely right answer. A lot of it depends on your individual the way you ride, what you want out of the bike, are you going to keep it a long time, that sort of stuff. So what it looks like, real simple, is that if it flows more air, it flows more dirt. And the DNAs have two versions. They have a track and they have a street version. And the filtering element is a plastic type of element. And it looks the same. It's pleated just like the K&N and the OEM, but it's just a plastic film with holes punched in it. And it's supposed to trap dirt up to the size of the holes, I guess, or approximately the size of the holes. There's no oils, no nothing. And when you get ready to clean it, you simply pull it out, you rinse it down with a hose, some soap and water, you dry it with compressed air, stick it back in, it's good to go. That's very convenient. Now, the DNAs are very expensive. They're about $150. And also, the tests and the various different people I listened to had said that and I saw some tests where they actually blew dirt through them and try to filter it. They let more dirt through. Let's be straight up about it. The DNA filters, they let more dirt through than the OEM does. They flow better air, and they flow quite good as far as the testing shows, or their numbers show. So then you look at the K&N. The K&N is a cloth element, and it is an oiled filter. So you have to spray with that typical pink K&N oil. It comes pre-oiled, but the cloth itself will trap some of the dirt. The cloth itself will trap some of the dirt, but the majority of the dirt sticks to the oil, the air filter oil that's on there. And basically the K&N filter, the oil, I've been told or I've heard, can sometimes mess up sensors, mass airflow sensors. It can burn. I imagine if it gets into the cylinder itself, it's going to burn off, but it probably burns off as some kind of residual, something that could hurt an O2 sensor. Anyway, I've heard they can hurt O2 sensors and such. I've never had that happen with mine. But again, my bikes, after 40, 50,000 miles, they've started to burn some oil, lose some compression. And I tend to keep my bikes, or at least I plan to keep this one a long, long time. My last one was 70-something thousand miles. Anyway, but the K&N doesn't, it traps more dirt than the DNA, but does not trap as much as the OEM. It flows a little less than the DNA, but it flows better than the OEM. So when you look at the comparison between the three, and the price of the K&N is about $80, and then you probably pay about $20 for the cleaning kit. That's a spray cleaner that you spray on before you hose it off, and then the oil to refurbish the oil on it. So you're looking at about $100 for a K&N filter versus $150 for the DNA filter. And both of those are supposed to be lifetime filters. You'll never have to replace it. I think K&N has what they call a 1,000,000-mile guarantee. And then the OEMs are about $35. So basically you could buy 3 OEM filters for 1 K&N. You could buy about 5 OEM filters for 1 DNA. And they trap more dirt, I believe, the OEM filters do. So I've kind of decided, I think I'm going to send the K&N back, and I'm going to go with the OEM filter. And I've also thought about flashing the bike, and so flashing it so I could, get better mapping and get the top speed limiter undone and have that exhaust valve just open all the time. Thinking about the BT1, I think is the company, BT1 tune. Anyway, so even with that, I don't think that the difference in airflow between a DNA, K&N, and OEM is going to make that much of a difference. I would say on a stock bike, if you change from an OEM to a DNA high flow filter, if you gain 2 horsepower, that's probably a lot. I doubt that it's going to make that much of a difference. And if it's not going to make that much of a difference, and it's also going to damage your engine quicker, let it wear out faster, I don't think it's worth having. So I've already decided I'm going to send the K&M back, and then I'll just use OEM filters with this bike, even if I get the tune. I think the equation is fairly simple. More airflow equals more power, also equals more dirt. More power and more dirt means less engine life. I guess the choice to me is going to be this time just regular OEM filters.